Over the last, say, 10 years, the name Fen has been a band that has carried a lot of weight. This is a group that has scored a lot of acclaim with underground metal fans for their atmospheric black metal, their post-metal mix, really being seen as one of the bands that perhaps was laying some of the foundation for the current love of things such as black gaze or post-black metal. But Fen is a group that over the years have scored numerous highly regarded albums, from the Malediction Fields to albums such as Carrion Skies. Now with Winter, their brand new album here in 2017, they take on something that's exceptionally ambitious. They take on an elongated song that scopes and spans the entirety of the album. Something that we have seen from other groups in the past, something that we just recently saw from a group such as Insomnium, but also something that we've most seen as treasured by a group such as Edge of Sanity. However, Fen, with their unique take on atmospheric black metal, on post-metal, post-black metal, whatever you wish to call it, what do they have to offer for us? Well, first of all, this is 6 tracks, and this is something that the very first cut is over 17 minutes in length, the very first portion of this song, which is the Pathway. Pathway goes into Penance, which is 10 minutes, Penance into Fear, Fear into Interment, Interment to the Death, and Death into Sight. And based off of this, it is a logical progression. Something where each part definitely overlaps with the other in some way, shape, or form in order to make this a full-bodied work, something that has a lot of continuity. And what I really enjoy about this album right from the get-go is that they have no fear, brazenly putting that long start right there at the beginning with Pathway. It reminds me of listening to a Hope Drone album that I just got that introduced their album with a 20-minute track. It's definitely not something that's expected, especially whenever the song feels like it could have been over after 4. But Pathway is able to really illuminate where Fen's philosophy is in 2017. One that they're able to really interweave that atmospheric black and that post-black metal very masterfully, and able to use their post-metal side in order to really accent things and give them a fuller feel. Every part of this song feels like it could easily be divided up even further, like Winter 1 could easily become Winter 1A, B, and C, really showcasing 3 different sides to this group and able to bring it all together before we are able to move on into Penance, which is the second track on this album. I love the fact that the harshness to softness ratio on this is not necessarily one that needs to be leapfrogged to back and forth, but instead they use the time very, very wisely. They understand that they're going to write something with a little bit of length and girth behind it, and they're able to move and motion their way into these transitions with tremendous poise, not to mention excellent build. And that's something that can really be seen as a constant throughout this record. Whenever you go from Penance into Fear, you can hear the way in which that snapshot sort of fades and decays and gets burnt out by some fire. You can tell how the whole entire mood of this album is about to shift. And there's just enough of that sort of semblance and idea, that darkness, that cold, that harsh reality that Winter sometimes is able to provide, that depression and melancholy that some of us may get during this cold season, this worst season of the year for many. It exists, and it's something that is somehow able to be manufactured through sound and done very well. Whenever we get to the latter portion of this disc, whenever we get to the 14 minute and 51 second, near 15 minute interment, this is one that shows a bit of a transition point, but also displays where the second half of this album is really going to go. There's going to be a bit of a darker message that's going to be presented on this, and it's one that's going to also have a little bit more of that brooding melancholy that was seen a little bit throughout the first opening numbers, but one that is instead going to be seen with a lot more grandeur over the second half. And it's something that's showcased. It's something where that post-metal side is embraced a lot more, and it's something where that atmospheric black metal, that darkness, is really just illuminated. It's a bright spot that immediately turns dark, that immediately turns to hell. It immediately signifies a transition. It immediately signifies the very death that the 5th track on this album is really illuminating through its title. All in all, this is a disc that's able to culminate all of what Fen has accomplished thus far in their career and showcase it in one platter of song. And I have to say it that way, which sounds like broken English, but it truly is one platter of song. It's the winter idea, the winter cycle, this 6-track, this, more than an hour, borderlining on 70 to 72 minutes of just masterful work that Fen has been able to deliver to us in the form of this release. There's a deluxe edition also that gives you a couple of additional songs. And these are songs that I'm going to really encourage you to experiment and explore on your own. Am I saying that they're necessarily not for everybody? No, this is actually right in the same wheelhouse of a Fen fan. It's not as though they decided to flip-flop their way of philosophy just because it's a deluxe or bonus disc. It's almost like getting bonus material more for your money, and that's something that's always a good thing. Overall, this is an album that displays a band that is maybe not at their absolute best, because maybe this is an album that's not surprising people nearly as heavily as perhaps the Insomnium disc did, or perhaps early Fen releases were able to surprise. But it is one that still showcases why Fen is a group that is still screaming from the underground to be noticed, and to be loved, and to be accepted, and to be seen as one of the torchbearers of this unique style of music. It's almost like that Hope Drone philosophy. They lead off with one of their better foots, their longest foot. They take that risk, they take that leap, and it pays off for them in the form of a solid album that really grips your attention and keeps you there the whole entire time. And based around that, this is a 26 out of 30. This is essential listening right now. Winter is definitely simply comparable to what Insomnium was able to do last year with Winter's Gate. It perhaps may not have the same feel to some folks, considering Insomnium may feel a little bit more accessible than Fen, but it's the same level. There's a parallel there. These two were able to take this idea, and really something as simple as Winter, and transform you into a world that feels very real. But I want to know what you guys think about Winter by Fen. Let me know in the comments below. My name is CoverKillerNation, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Take care.